You don't need a bunker, a garage, a giant farmhouse pantry to become more resilient. One of the biggest lies people tell themselves is this: I live in a small flat, I've only got one cupboard, I don't have the space, there's no point even trying. But that is exactly how people stay fragile, because the truth is, if you have one decent cupboard, one awkward corner, one shelf under the bed, or a bit of dead space in your home, you can build a proper emergency pantry that takes a huge amount of pressure off when things start going wrong. And that is what I want to show you today. Welcome back to Charlie Survival. If you're new here, subscribe for realistic UK preparedness and survival. And comment below of the biggest challenge you have when it comes to prepping in a small space. Is it water, food, storage, budget, or just not knowing where to begin? Because this is where a lot of people get stuck. They think preparedness only works if you have land, a shed, or a spare room full of gear. But most people in the UK do not live like that. Most people are in normal homes with normal storage problems, trying to make life a bit less fragile. So this video is not about fantasy prepping, this is about realistic urban UK style home resilience. And by the end of this video, I want to show you how to think about a small prep cupboard properly, what deserves space, what wastes space, and how to store the basics in a way that feels calm and organised rather than chaotic. Because that is the real goal, not panic buy, not hoarding random tins, not making your home look like a warehouse. The goal is to quietly build a home that can absorb disruption. That is what preparedness really is. Now, the first shift you need to make is this: stop thinking how much stuff can I cram in, start thinking how many problems can this cupboard solve. That changes everything, because the average person starts with food. They buy pasta, rice, tins, noodles, and they think, right, I'm sorted. But they are not sorted, because food is only part of the problem. If the power goes out, how do you cook it? If the taps stop, how do you get water? If the shops are stripped, how do you maintain hygiene? If it is dark, how do you light your home safely? If your phone is flat, how do you get information? And if this goes on longer than a weekend, how do you stop your home from feeling stressful? That is why a proper small space prep cupboard has to work in layers: water, food, cooking and heating, light and power, hygiene, and then comfort and morale. And when you build it like that, a small cupboard becomes far more powerful than people realise. So let's start with the water, because water is usually the first thing people underestimate, and then the first thing they run out of. Now, in a small flat, you are obviously limited. You're not going to stack endless barrels in the hallway, so the goal is not to store every drop you might ever need. The goal is to create a buffer. You want enough stored water to buy yourself time to think, time to assess what is going on, time to avoid panic, and time to avoid joining everyone else rushing to the shops once they realise there's a problem. So in a small home, stackable containers make far more sense than awkward shapes. Square bottles and stackable water containers waste less space and are easier to organise. And alongside stored water, you need a way to make that water safe. This means a filter, purification tablets, and a plan. Because stored water without a resupply plan is only a delay. If you can store a useful amount of water and also have a way to purify more after that, you have moved from fragile to adaptable. Next is hygiene. And honestly, this is one of the most overlooked parts of preparedness. People love buying food, gadgets, torches and radios, but then they forget the boring things: soap, toilet roll, toothpaste, bin bags, cleaning spray, wet wipes, hand sanitizer, painkillers, basic medication, first aid, spare toothbrushes and women's hygiene products. These things matter far more than people think, because when normal systems get disrupted, hygiene goes from background to essential very quickly. And the reason I would always make room for these in a small prep cupboard is because these items do two things. They can keep you physically well, and they help your home still feel civilized. Because a resilient home is not just one where you can technically survive, it's one where stress stays lower, routines still work, and things do not start feeling like they are collapsing around you after 2 days. Next comes light, power and information. And again, in a small flat, this needs to stay practical. You do not need to turn your place into some tactical command center. What you do need to do is backup lighting, simple charging options, and a way to stay informed. A good torch, a lantern or two, spare batteries, a power bank, and ideally some kind of radio or emergency radio. Because when the lights go out, clarity matters. The person with one torch, spare batteries and a charged phone is already in a better position than the person with a drawer full of random gear and no system. And this is where I think people make a mistake. They buy bits, but they don't buy systems. A cupboard full of random items is not preparedness. A cupboard where each shelf solves a different problem, that is preparedness. If you want a simple gear reference, my Charlie Survival Amazon kit list is in the description. And if you want the easiest practical step, my free blackout checklist is linked in the pinned comments. And if you want the full UK specific step-by-step system, my course, the UK Crisis Readiness System, goes much deeper than I can fit into one video. There is now nearly 60 active members inside. There has been a lot of positive feedback, and the main thing I keep hearing is that it's actually helping people get organised and take action when the world feels unstable. Now let's talk about food, because this is where your cupboard will take up the most space, so every item has to earn its place. And the easiest way to think about food in a small home is this: do not build around meals, build around categories. That makes your cupboard far simpler and far more flexible. Category 1 is staples: rice, pasta, oats, flour, crackers, maybe couscous, maybe instant mash. These are cheap, compact, calorie dense and versatile. Category 2 is protein and substance: tuna, beans, corned beef, soup, chili, lentils, chickpeas. Whatever fits the way you actually eat, because the worst prep cupboard is the one built around food you never actually touch. If you hate it now, you're not going to suddenly love it during a stressful week with no easy resupply. So build around real life, build around food you already know how to use. Category 3 is flavour and morale: sauces, salt, coffee, tea, jam, peanut butter, stock cubes, spices. Because bland calories keep you alive, but flavour helps keep your head straight. And if you're stuck indoors, if the weather is rough, or if the disruption drags on, those small comforts carry a lot of weight. Category 4 is easy snacks and quick wins: biscuits, fruit bars, dried fruit, shelf-stable treats, nuts if they suit you. Because not every moment is going to be a full sit-down meal. Sometimes you just need something quick, simple and comforting. And category 5 is longer life extras: powdered milk, tinned fruit, UHT milk, maybe pancake mix, maybe a few shelf-stable desserts. These help break the monotony and make the cupboard feel like something you can actually live with. So now, instead of just random piles of food, you have a system: base calories, protein, flavour, snacks, morale. This is easier to build, easier to rotate and easier to use. Now, once you have got water, hygiene, light, power and food sorted, the next question is this: how are you actually going to prepare the food if your normal kitchen setup is gone? Because a lot of people will assume, well, I've got gas, maybe not for long. Maybe there is disruption, maybe there is a safety issue, maybe normal routine is simply not working. So I always think it makes sense to have a simple backup cooking layer, not something extreme or theatrical, just a basic way to boil water and heat food if your usual setup is interrupted. This could be something as simple as a compact camping stove and fuel stored safely and sensible within the limits of your home. And again, this is where systems beat stuff, because if I give two people the same pile of supplies, the one who has thought through where it lives, how it's organised, what gets used first, how it gets rotated, and what each shelf is actually for, that person is far more prepared than the one with more gear and no structure. And that brings me to the biggest point in this whole video. Preparedness in a small flat is not about having loads, it's about using space intelligently. That means vertical storage, grouping categories together, putting heavier items low, keeping the most used items accessible, and rotating what you store so it becomes part of life rather than some hidden stash you forget about. The people who do best at this are not usually the people with the biggest homes. They're the people who stop treating preparedness like a dramatic event and start treating it like household management. That is the shift. You're not building a bunker, you're building a more resilient normal life. And when you look at it like that, a single cupboard becomes incredibly valuable. One shelf for water and purification, one shelf for hygiene and medical basics, one shelf for staples and tins, one section for power, light and backup cooking, one section for overflow and rotation stock. Suddenly you're not just hoping the shops stay full, you have options, and options create calm. That is what this is really about. Not fear, not fantasy, not trying to impress people online, just reducing dependency, reducing panic and reducing last minute chaos. So if you've been telling yourself your home is too small to prep properly, I hope this video has shown you that that is not true. You do not need perfect conditions to start, just start. Pick one cupboard, pick one shelf, pick one weak point in your home and improve it. Then improve the next one. That is how real readiness is built, not in one giant shopping trip, but in layers, one calm decision at a time. If this video helped, comment below and let me know what you would put in your own small space prep cupboard first. And subscribe for more practical prepping and survival focused videos like this. The easiest next step is to grab my free blackout checklist in the pinned comment. It is simple, practical, and it will help you spot the weak points in your home fast. If you want the deeper version where you can get a full UK specific step-by-step readiness system instead of just trying to piece this all together on your own, have a look at my UK Crisis Readiness System course. For the right person, that is not just more information, it is more clarity, more confidence, more structure, and less wasted time. That's why the community is so strong. And if you want to see the gear I think is worth looking at, my Charlie Survival Amazon kit list is in the description. Hit like if you gained something from this video, and if you enjoyed this one, you enjoyed this one on screen now about the 8 preps not to ignore before things get chaotic again. Thanks for watching, stay calm, stay practical, click the video, and I'll see you over there.